Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime, and it is time to talk about the top 5 hardest brawlers to push in Brawl Stars. Now, I recently released a video where I said I was going to release the top 10 brawlers, but then the video became a lot more than I thought it was going to be, and it was going to be super long. So, cut it in half. This is part 2 of that video. We are going to reveal the 5 hardest brawlers in the game to push right now, voted by you guys. Then I'm going to jump into the best maps for each of those brawlers to push in, as well as my top 3 tips for each of those brawlers as well. And guys, put in the comment section below right now which 3 brawlers you think are the hardest to push in the game, and maybe you'll actually select the ones that are on this list. Now, back into the video that I recorded a long time ago. Time for a clothes change. Okay, up next, 5th is going to be Pam. Now, Pam's 2 best modes right now are Takedown and both Duo and Solo Showdown. Now, you'll notice that she has a very high win rate in a lot of modes and a very low use rate in those said modes. A lot of the time, this would make me think that like she's only just average because only a few people are really pushing her really well, but I actually think that this is just a reflection of people not having realized how much better Pam is now that she got her buff. Pam is literally an excellent brawler to play in all of the takedown maps, but she's especially good in Maze Mayhem with a competitive win rate of 83%. That's insane. That is game-breakingly good. 83% of matches over 700 trophies when you play Pam, you will be within 5th or higher, which is nuts. And bolts, which is a Pam joke. Now in Showdown, Pam's best maps are Barren Badlands, Flying Fantasies, and Scorched Stone. First tip to playing Pam is to aim like a straight shooter. Every attack that Pam fires, she shoots out 2 projectiles to the right and 2 projectiles to the left and 5 projectiles in the middle. By attacking like Colt does, meaning that like you're leading your shots in a straight line, that means you're more likely to deal more damage. And of course, this is a reminder that like, you shouldn't be auto aiming with Colt. You also should manually aim with Pam most of the time as well. Second tip for Pam is put your turret behind the wall. This might seem like common knowledge, but I frequently see Pam players dropping their turret out in the open where the turret is likely to get shot. It's fine to put the turret up as like a panic shield in some situations, but most of the time you want it hidden and safe behind a wall so that it can provide benefit to your team without, being an easy target. Third tip for Pam is to heal the tankier teammate. When you're playing Pam, you want to focus your turret positioning on whichever teammate has the most HP. If that's Pam, keep the turret by Pam. But if you have another teammate that has more HP, it's typically going to provide the most benefit if it's closer to them, whether they're on the left, whether they're on the right, or whether they're in the center. This is because tankier brawlers are less likely to get bursted down and require fast healing, which means that Pam's slow and consistent healing is perfect for them. Coming in 4th, we have Carl as a very hard brawler to push. And just like Pam, you'll actually notice that he has a very low use rate, but a pretty good win rate in a lot of modes. His best modes are both Duo and Solo Showdown, and also Gem Grab. Now his best maps in Showdown are Barren Badlands, Critical Crossing, and Deserted Vertex. But when it comes to Gem Grab, he can be played really well on all of the maps, but his best maps are Crosscut, Acute Angle, and Deathcap Cave. When I say these best maps, I'm talking about highest win rate, highest use rate kind of thing. My first tip for Carl is to aim at walls. Obviously, I don't mean shoot the walls. I'm talking about aiming your attacks so that they will hit an enemy brawler and then bounce off the wall faster so that you can fire more shots. This is, once again, common knowledge, but you'd be surprised how many times I see people just auto-aiming when they could do this. In the right type of situation, you can deal an insane amount of damage to brawlers that are pinched between Carl and a wall. Second tip to Carl is to sweep your attacks. Sweeping, the act of firing and then strafing to the left or right, is typically done with long-range brawlers who fire multiple projectiles like Colt or Rico. The trick to mastering Carl is to utilize the fact that his axe always returns to him, so you can force it to move left or right to hit targets that are hiding behind walls or hiding around corners. And seriously guys, doing this while keeping your distance makes it very difficult for a brawler to chase Carl. Like they can't chase him because he always has the advantage. Third tip is to use your super cautiously. Most of the time, that's going to be on defense and as a way to escape, not to take out an enemy brawler. But, obviously you can do that sometimes. Daryl doesn't have a whole lot of health, and while his super can help finish enemy brawlers off, it doesn't last long enough to use it as both a way to chase a brawler and to kill them. Typically, an offensive super is the best when Carl is already close to an enemy brawler, or if that brawler is already almost dead. For most other times, Carl's super is best used as defense. Now here we got a bonus tip for Carl, okay? That is to throw your axe before you super if you're planning to chase down enemy brawlers. If you get to the enemy brawler by the time Carl's axe actually reaches you, that attack will actually deal bonus damage on top of his super. So, you know, bonus damage, I like that. Okay guys, it's time for us to reveal the 3 hardest brawlers to push in the game as voted by you guys. It's time to see if you guessed any of the top 3, or if you guessed the top 3 in order. Million points, guys, million points. If you guessed Tara was in the top 3, you get a bonus point. Now Tara's best 2 game modes are gonna be Gem Grab and Brawl Ball. In Gem Grab, Tara can be played on most maps, but she has a couple of really excellent maps that she's really great on. That's going to be Double Swoosh, Spring Trap, Undermine, and Cell Division. And all of these have something in common. That's the fact that she has a lot of places where she can hide in bushes and wait to use her super on an unsuspecting gem carrier. In Brawl Ball, once again, she can be played in most maps, but her best maps are Course Course, Slalom Slam, Pinhole Punt, and Field Goal. My first tip for playing Tara is to only use super when you have full ammo. Tara's super is basically only a minor annoyance if it's not paired up with a couple of other attacks. Unless your teammates are available to unload on brawlers that have been pulled, you shouldn't use your super unless you have enough ammo to try and finish off the target as well. If you do this correctly, Tara will only be a couple of attacks away from recharging her super, and you'll likely have taken an enemy out, or maybe even 2. Second tip is to pull away from walls. Make sure that the enemy brawler does not have a wall between the center of her super. If a player gets caught by Tara's super and bumps into a wall before they reach the center, they'll escape. It stops pulling them, and they also avoid damage as well. Because of this, you want to make sure that you are positioning your super into places where A, you'll be able to follow through with more attacks, and B, the target won't be able to use walls to escape. Third tip is don't risk your super. When playing Tara, you typically spend the majority of the match charging up your super from a distance so you can have 1, maybe 2 game-changing supers. Because of this, you don't want to risk wasting your super unless you know that you can A, guarantee a good pull, or B, you know that you can recharge your super on a tankier brawler. I recommend using bushes to hide the fact that you're about to use your super so that the enemy doesn't see the yellow ring and know to fall back. Okay, here we go. Second most difficult brawler to push. My guess is you guys, this is on your list. This is my guess. That's going to be Mortis. Now, if you're having a hard time pushing Mortis, my first recommendation would be to stop pushing him in Brawl Ball. Doesn't matter how many trophies you have, Mortis has one of the highest use rates in Brawl Ball and one of the lowest win rates, meaning that there's a ton of data proving that he's terrible at the mode. Also, I should mention that Mortis has a very low win rate in the non-competitive meta, which suggests that he's best pushed once you actually get his Coiled Snake star power, because that makes him a lot better. That being said, I'm still going to be giving you guys the best maps, even if you do not have his star power. Mortis's best game modes are Gem Grab, Bounty, and Lone Star. His best Gem Grab maps are Minecart Madness, 4 Squared, and Snake Cavern. His best bounty maps are Layer Cake, Shooting Star, and Canal Grande. Now for Lone Star, I wouldn't recommend pushing him if you don't have his star power, but his best maps are going to be Thousand Lakes, Hot Point, and Eye of the Storm. Now my first tip is to pick your targets carefully. Mortis is the kind of brawler that has really hard counters against him, and also brawlers that he is a hard counter against. While you're playing Mortis, the first thing that you want to do when the match starts is look at the enemy brawlers and select which ones you will target and plan to avoid brawlers that counter you. Typically, low HP brawlers are Mortis's best targets, and he should avoid high health brawlers that can deal more damage up close than Mortis can handle. Now the second tip for Mortis is to have patience. Mortis is not a brawler that you want to just rush in with, you know, like a berserker. He has really high burst potential, but only average survivability and very poor sustained DPS because his reload speed is so slow. Now the key to playing Mortis is to get in position, stay hidden, and wait for the right moment to take out your target. Sometimes you do need to move around walls, you know, like kind of keep the pressure on them, but you get the idea. Do not try to handle more than one brawler at a time. Just like any good assassin, you want to go in, do the deed, and get out without being seen by anybody else. Third tip is to always watch ammo and super charge. The best Mortis players will always know how much ammo they have and how many shots they have left before they get their super. It takes 5 attacks before Mortis has his super. If Mortis hits one enemy with his super, it still takes another 4 attacks to recharge. Additionally, the best Mortises will also know how many shots are required to take out their target. Sometimes that requires a little bit of quick math. Now with 3 attacks, he can take out Tick, Barley, Rico, Piper, Spike, and Crow, but every other brawler is going to require more shots if they're at full HP. Okay guys, here comes the #1 hardest brawler by popular vote. If you guessed Tick, you would be correct. According to my poll, 48.5% of the people who took it struggled to push Tick, which is much more than any other brawler on the poll. Honestly, I'm a little ticked. I'm just kidding. I'm actually surprised because since his last buff 2 updates ago, he's actually been a super strong brawler, but you know, we'll move on. We're gonna do it for him because you guys asked for it. The Tick's best modes are Bounty, Siege, Duo Showdown, and Brawl Ball. His best bounty maps are Shooting Star, Overgrown Oasis, Canal Grande, and Layer Cake, which is every bounty map that's in the game right now, aside from Snake Prairie. Now he is an excellent option in all of the Siege maps as well, but his best maps are Junk Park, Some Assembly Required, and Nuts and Bolts. Now Tick's best Duo Showdown maps are Cavern Churn, Stormy Plains, and Erratic Blocks. His best Brawl Ball maps include Triple Dribble, Beach Ball, and Super Stadium. A lot of maps and a lot of modes that you can actually push Tick in, and those are actually really great, excellent options even if you don't have it maxed out. But we also got some good tips for you, okay? First tip to playing Tick is to use your range. You always want to stay at your range. He has one of the longest ranges in the game and one of the lowest HPs in the game. It's super hard for Tick to deal with anybody up close, and that means that Tick is strongest at range. He can outrange and outcontrol other brawlers by utilizing walls, and he can even counter long-range brawlers that typically counter other throwers as well. Second tip is to use your super to corner enemies. Tick's super is really easy to avoid, but it does require running away and firing at it to do so. Whenever you have your super up, you almost always know where the enemy's escape route is, so you want to make sure that you always fire at that escape route with your attacks so that they're forced to either take damage from your attacks or from your super, and you know, sometimes maybe even both. Third tip to playing Tick is to fake coming out, guys. We're only pretending to come out. Now, as a long-range thrower, Tick rarely has to come out from behind a wall, especially when the enemy brawler is within range, right? And with that said, you can waste a lot of enemy ammo by pretending to come around the corner and then just stopping. Obviously, you're not going to come outside of the wall, but I've forced countless enemies to fall back by pretending that I'm going to come out and then them wasting their ammo, and then they can't do anything because me and my teammates are pounding on them and they can't attack back. And there you have it, guys. Let me know in the comment section how you did with this challenge. Did you get 1,000,000 bonus points? If you did, I'm impressed. And of course, now you guys know everything that you need to push these brawlers even higher in trophies. Make sure you guys subscribe for more content like this, and don't forget to like the video if you liked it. And if you didn't, well, I guess that's okay. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.